During the Silent Age, some of the most popular movies were comedies. With the likes of Charlie Chaplin, Harold Lloyd, and Buster Keaton, moviegoers were always walking out of the theaters laughing. When sound came along, a new group of comedians would take the world by storm and make a lasting mark on cinema history, and these guys were family. I'm talking, of course, of the Marx Brothers. Born to parents Sam and Minnie Marx, the brothers would introduce an original style of comedy that no one has been able to duplicate since. As with every video, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you want to see more of these videos, please pledge to the show's Patreon page and follow me on the show's social media pages. All links are in the description box below. My partner Joe and I love all the support you've given us thus far, and we look forward to seeing this grow. With that said, I'm Big Rob, and here's a look into the lives of the Marx Brothers. Enjoy. The first of the Marx Brothers was Manfred, born in 1885. Sadly, he would pass away before the age of 3. In 1887, Leonard, aka Chico, was born, followed by Adolf, who was also known as Arthur, aka Harpo, born in 1888. Julius, aka Groucho, was born in 1890 and would become the most famous of the brothers. Milton, aka Gummo, was born in 1892 and would become known as the Forgotten Marx Brother. And finally, Herbert, aka Zeppo, was born in 1901 and was considered the handsomest of the 5. The brothers got their start in entertainment at an early age. Gummo would be the first of the brothers to appear on stage. He became a part of his uncle's ventriloquism act before his mother set up a vaudeville singing troupe called the Three Nightingales, with Gummo, Groucho, and singer Mabel O'Donnell. Harpo was eventually brought in, making the group the Four Nightingales. Finally, Chico was brought in, changing the name to the Four Marx Brothers. Gummo would have to leave the act, however, due to fighting in the First World War. Zeppo was brought in to take over. Gummo would never act again, but would start a raincoat business before finding his niche as a talent agent. I was always curious about how each brother got their infamous nicknames. Apparently, 4 of the 5 got their names on the same night in Illinois in 1915. It was during a poker game with a monologist named Art Fisher that 4 of the brothers received their new names, as it was common for people to receive a nickname ending in the letter O. Chico received his name due to him being a ladies' man. Back then, women and girls were referred to as chickens, and even Groucho would say years later that his brother was a chicken chaser. However, it was originally spelled with a K, but a typesetter accidentally misspelled it in an advertisement and the change stuck. Groucho's name has a few explanations given by the man himself, so it's anyone's guess. The first is that he was simply a grouchy person. The second is that he always kept a pouch-type container all the time for his money, known as a grouch bag. And the third is that it was based off of Groucho the Monk, from the Not Go the Monk comic strip. Before he died, Groucho would say that he really got his nickname because he was prone to moodiness, but it's hard to know if this is any more true than the other reasons, but it's fun to think about. According to the family, with the exception of Harpo, Gummo got his nickname because he always wore gumshoes, which were rubber-soled shoes. Harpo, on the other hand, said it was because his brother was sneaky and liked to creep up on people like a gumshoe detective. Harpo said that his little brother was nicknamed after a wild monkey named Zippo, though Groucho says he was named after the Zeppelin airships. Harpo is the easiest to figure out. Simply put, he played the harp. In fact, all of the brothers were musically talented. Though Harpo and Chico would most be known for their instruments, Harpo on the harp and Chico on the piano, there's a fun fact about Harpo. He actually taught himself how to play the harp, albeit incorrectly. He also tuned it incorrectly, which allowed it to have a distinct sound. Years later, he would try to learn the correct way to play, but by that point, audiences were so used to the other way he played, and because he was so talented, that he just stuck with that way of playing. After making a name for themselves on vaudeville and in Broadway, The four Marx brothers would eventually sign with Paramount during Hollywood's conversion from silent to sound pictures. Because their Broadway comedy plays were successful, Paramount decided to adapt a couple of them for film. These films were The Coconuts and Animal Crackers. Monkey Business soon followed, which was their first film not based on one of their Broadway productions. They soon began doing satire films as well. For example, Horse Feathers satirized the American college system and prohibition. Their last film with Paramount is one of their most famous, Duck Soup. While it didn't make as much money as Horse Feathers, it did spark controversy due to the name of the fictional town in the film, Fredonia. The controversy stemmed from Fredonia, New York, having a similar name. A letter was written to Paramount from Fredonia asking the studio to remove all references of Fredonia from the film because, and I quote, "it is hurting our town's image." In true Groucho fashion, he fired back with a letter of his own asking for them to change the name of their town because, and I quote again, "it's hurting our picture." When their contract with Paramount expired, Zeppo left the group to join his brother Gummo as a talent agent. They would build one of the biggest talent agencies in Hollywood, which saw the beginnings of people like Jack Benny and Lana Turner. The remaining three Marx brothers would move on to Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. This new contract was proposed by MGM executive Irving Thalberg, who played bridge with Chico and was interested in seeing them with the biggest studio in Hollywood. Their initial meetings with Thalberg saw them waiting outside of his office for hours before being let inside. This angered Groucho, who told the producer in no uncertain terms that he and his brothers didn't need MGM and could easily go back to Broadway. So then instead of waiting outside of his office, Thalberg would make them wait inside his office while he spoke to one of his producers. From how Groucho describes this, after the fourth time this happened, they were waiting inside Thalberg's office once again, but this time they had gotten 4 baked potatoes from the commissary. Afterwards, they lit a fire in Thalberg's office fireplace and then took off all their clothes and were roasting the potatoes naked when Thalberg came in. Instead of being upset, he laughed because no one ever told jokes around him because he was feared, due to how talented as a producer he was. The Marx Brothers' first film with MGM was called A Night at the Opera, which also starred Alan Jones, Kitty Carlisle, and a classic Marx Brothers foil in the form of Margaret Dumont, who was often considered the fifth Marx brother by Groucho. Unlike their Paramount films, which were all over the place, Thalberg felt very strongly that there should be a structured story where the audience roots for the brothers to win. This film made them heroes in the sense that they helped Alan Jones and Kitty Carlisle's characters not only perform opera in New York, but also find a way to be together. A Night at the Opera became their biggest hit up to that point. Groucho always praised Irving Thalberg because he understood what the people wanted. Thalberg also made the suggestion that the brothers perfect some of their scenes in the movie on stage in front of a live crowd. This greatly helped the film, and it established things that would continue to be in subsequent Marx Brothers films. I'd like to show 2 of my favorite scenes from A Night at the Opera. The first features Groucho and Chico having a verbal joust called the Sanity Clause. The second features Harpo playing on the harp in front of a mesmerized crowd. Enjoy.
Now, here are the contracts. You just put his name at the top and you sign at the bottom. There's no need of you reading that because these are duplicates.
Yeah, it's a duplicate, that is. Duplicates, eh?
I say they're duplicates.
Oh, sure, it's a duplicate, Sam.
Don't you know what duplicates are?
Sure, there's 5 kids up in Canada.
Well, I wouldn't know about that. I haven't been in Canada in years. Well, go ahead and read it.
What does it say?
Well, go on and read it.
All right, you read it, go on.
All right, I'll read it to you. Can you hear?
I haven't heard anything yet. Did you say anything?
Well, I haven't said anything worth hearing.
Well, that's why I didn't hear anything.
Well, that's why I didn't say anything.
Can you read?
I can read, but I can't see it. Don't seem to have it in focus here. If my arms were a little longer, I could read it. You haven't got a baboon in your pocket, have you? Here we are. Now I've got it. Now pay particular attention to this first clause because it's most important. It says the party of the first part should be known in this contract as the party of the first part. How do you like that? That's pretty neat, eh?
No, it's no good.
What's the matter with it?
I don't know. Let's hear it again.
It says the party of the first part should be known in this contract as the party of the first part.
Well, sounds a little better this time.
Well, it grows on you. Would you like to hear it once more?
Just the first part.
What do you mean, the party of the first part?
No, the first part of the party or the first part.
All right, it says the first part of the party of the first part should be known in this contract as the first part of the party of the first part should be known in this contract. Look, why should we quarrel about a thing like this? We'll take it right out, eh?
Yeah, it's too long anyhow. Now what do we got left?
Well, I got about 1.5 feet. Now, it says the party of the second part should be known in this contract as the party of the second part.
Well, I don't know about that.
Now, what's the matter?
I don't like the second party either.
Well, you should have come to the first party. We didn't get home till around 4 in the morning. I was blind for 3 days.
Hey, look. Why can't the first part of the second party be the second part of the first party? Then you got something.
Well, look, rather than go through all that again, what do you say?
Fine.
Now I've got something here you're bound to like. You be crazy about it.
No, I don't like it.
You don't like what?
Whatever it is, I don't like it.
Well, don't let's break up an old friendship over a thing like that. Ready?
Okay. Now, the next part I don't think you're going to like.
Well, your word's good enough for me. Now then, is my word good enough for you?
I should say not.
Well, that takes out 2 more clauses. Now, the party of the 8th part...
No,
No?
that's no good, no.
The party of the 9th...
No, that's no good, too. Hey, how is it my contract is skinnier than yours?
Well, I don't know. You must have been out on the tail last night. But anyhow, we're all set now, aren't we?
Oh, sure.
Now, just you put your name right down there, and then the deal is legal.
Hey, I forgot to tell you, I can't write.
No, that's all right. There's no ink in the pen anyhow. But listen, it's a contract, isn't it?
Oh, sure.
We've got a contract,
You
no matter
bet.
how small it is.
Hey, wait. What does this say here, this thing here?
Oh, that's the usual clause. That's in every contract. That just says, if any of the parties participating in this contract are shown not to be in their right mind, the entire agreement is automatically nullified.
Well, I don't know.
It's all right. That's in every contract. That's what they call a sanity clause.
You can't fool me. There ain't no sanity clause.
Well...
2 years after A Night at the Opera, the Marx Brothers appeared in a film called A Day at the Races. Again produced by Thalberg, this film proved to be an even bigger hit. However, Irving Thalberg would die suddenly the year prior to the premiere. This would have a lasting effect, as Louis B. Mayer, who would take over Thalberg's spot in addition to his duties as the head of MGM, had no desire to give them the attention Thalberg did. In fact, he was against bringing the brothers to the studio in the first place. They would leave MGM briefly to make a film for RKO called Room Service, which co-starred Lucille Ball. It wasn't a hit, which saw the brothers return to MGM for 3 more films. These films were At the Circus, Go West, and The Big Store. All 3 were very funny, but without Irving Thalberg, a certain quality was missing. Prior to the release of The Big Store, they announced their retirement. This retirement would only last 4 years, however, as Chico's gambling debts were mounting, so Groucho and Harpo agreed to do 2 more films, A Night in Casablanca and Love Happy. There's an interesting story behind A Night in Casablanca, and this is mostly due to Groucho himself stirring the pot. This film would be released 4 years after Warner Brothers had made the classic film Casablanca. In the original storyline for the Marx Brothers movie, it was to be a direct parody of Casablanca, with Groucho playing the character Humphrey Bogus, a direct parody of actor Humphrey Bogart. The story was changed though, but a letter inquiring about the film was sent by someone from the Warner Brothers legal department, which Groucho took full advantage of. What I'm about to read is Groucho's brother-to-brother letter to the Warners. This letter is being read from Cass Warner's book, The Brothers Warner. In Groucho's words, I had no idea the city of Casablanca belonged exclusively to the Warner Brothers. However, it was only a few days after our announcement appeared that we received your long, ominous document warning us not to use the name Casablanca. It seems that in 1471, Ferdinand Balboa Warner, your great-great-grandfather, while looking for a shortcut to the city of Burbank, had stumbled across the shores of Africa and named it Casablanca. I just don't understand your attitude. Even if you plan on re-releasing your picture, I'm sure the average movie fan could learn in time to distinguish between Ingrid Bergman and Harpo. I don't know whether I could, but I certainly would like to try. You claim you own Casablanca, and no one else can use that name without your permission. What about Warner Brothers? Do you own that too? You probably have the right to use the name Warner, but what about Brothers? Professionally, we were brothers long before you were. We were touring the sticks as the Marx Brothers when Vitaphone was just a gleam in the inventor's eye. And even before, there had been other brothers. The Smith brothers, the brothers Karamazov, and, brother, can you spare a dime? Now, Jack, how about you? Do you maintain that yours is an original name? Well, it's not. It was used long before you were born. Offhand, I can think of 2 Jacks. There was Jack of Jack and the Beanstalk, and Jack the Ripper, who cut quite a figure in his day. As for you, Harry, you probably signed all your checks, sure in the belief that you were the first Harry of all time and that all the other Harrys are imposters. I can think of 2 Harrys that preceded you. There was Light Horse Harry of Revolutionary fame, and Harry Applebaum, who lived on the corner of 93rd Street and Lexington Avenue. I have a hunch that this attempt to prevent us from using the title is the brainchild of some ferret-faced shyster serving a brief apprenticeship in your legal department. I know the type well. Hot out of law school and hungry for success. This bar sinister probably needled your attorneys into attempting to adjoin us. Well, he won't get away with it. We'll fight him to the highest court. No pasty-faced legal adventurer is going to cause bad blood between the Warner and the Marxes. We are all brothers under the skin and will remain friends until the last reel of A Night in Casablanca goes tumbling over the spool. Sincerely, Groucho Marx. Let that sink in as you realize how brilliantly funny Groucho was, especially when messing with his own friends. Needless to say, Harry and Jack Warner told their legal department in no uncertain terms to leave the Marx Brothers alone. Personally, I'm surprised that Groucho didn't mention Albert Warner. Then again, Albert always was the quiet one of the Warners, but that's neither here nor there. This was simply an incredible response to an obvious misunderstanding. The other film the brothers made to help Chico's gambling debts, Love Happy, is considered by many fans to be the weakest and unfunniest Marx Brothers film. Groucho was even quoted as saying, "Harpo, Chico, and I tell a few jokes and do some acting. It's very educational." The one thing that really stands out for fans is the appearance of a then unknown Marilyn Monroe. Nevertheless, this would be the last film the Marx Brothers would appear together. They would go into different solo careers as Gummo and Zeppo did, and I would like to acknowledge them. Gummo, as mentioned earlier, would become a successful talent agent, representing numerous stars. What's interesting about this is that he rarely used contracts. He believed that if someone liked his work, they would stay with him. If not, they would seek representation elsewhere. He would also represent Groucho and worked on the television show The Life of Riley, which he also would help develop. Zeppo is often seen as not having a chance to develop a comedic persona that rivaled his brothers. The late author and film historian Gerald Mast once said of Zeppo, and I quote, "He added a fourth dimension as the cliché of the romantic juvenile, the bland wooden espouser of sentiments that seem to exist only in the world of the sound stage. He is too schleppy, too nasal, and too wooden to be taken seriously. Despite this, Zeppo would have a successful collaboration with his older brother Gummo as a talent agent. Chico, during the 1930s and 40s, in between films, would lead a big band known as the Chico Marx Orchestra. Singer Mel Torme would actually begin his career with Chico's band. After the others went into retirement, Chico would still be plagued by gambling debts, to which his brothers would put him on an allowance until his death. However, he would make appearances on television, his most memorable being with Harpo on an episode of General Electric Theater. Harpo would also make appearances on television such as I Love Lucy, where he and Lucille Ball would reenact the mirror scene from Duck Soup. He would also release a few music records as well. Harpo's final public appearance was on January 19, 1963, when, alongside singer and comedian Alan Sherman, announced his retirement from the entertainment industry. Sherman burst into tears when he heard this, and comedian Steve Allen was in the audience listening to Harpo speak publicly for the first time. He spoke for several minutes about his career and how he would miss it all. He also interrupted Sherman whenever he tried to speak. It was incredibly ironic that someone who was known for saying nothing on camera or stage, or when fans tried to get him to speak, was now speaking non-stop and no one could shut him up. Groucho would have the most successful solo career, as he would host the game show You Bet Your Life for 11 years. Beginning as a radio show, it was moved to television due to its popularity. Groucho was known for messing with the contestants while he quizzed them and ad-libbed many of his jokes. He also appeared without his brothers in a number of films such as Copacabana, Double Dynamite, and A Girl in Every Port. As he got older, Groucho began to appear frail and weak but still retained his sharp wit. In 1974, he made his last major public appearance at the Academy Awards when he was presented with an honorary Oscar for Lifetime Achievement.
I want to thank those who voted for me to give this award. I wish that Harpo and Chico could be here to share with me this great honor. I wish Margaret Dumont could be here, too. She was a great straight woman for me, even though she never understood any of my jokes. She used to say, "Julie, what are they laughing at?" But most of all, I want to thank my mother, because without her, we never would have been anything. And last of all, I'd like to thank Aaron Fleming, who makes my life worth living, and who understands all my jokes.
The award honored his brothers as well. He made several acknowledgments during his speech, such as Chico and Harpo, who had passed away by then, and Margaret Dumont, his classic comic foil, who Groucho said never understood any of his jokes, though that has been debated over the years. I want to point out that Groucho believed very firmly that profanity in comedy was too easy. He was once quoted as saying, "Anybody can say something dirty and get a laugh, but say something clean and get a laugh, that requires a comedian." The Marx Brothers were true comedic originals, with a style that no one has ever been able to duplicate to this day. They set a standard for comedy and inspired many future comedians. Their films continue to make new generations of movie lovers laugh, no matter how many times they see them. Before I end this video, I want to leave you all with one of their other famous scenes. It's known as the stateroom scene from A Night at the Opera. Enjoy.
Stewart! Stewart! Stu!
Yes, sir.
I say, Stu.
Yes, sir.
What do we got for dinner?
Anything you like, sir. You might have some tomato juice, orange juice, grape juice, pineapple juice.
Hey, turn off the juice before I get electrocuted. All right, let me have one of each. And, 2 fried eggs, 2 poached eggs, 2 scrambled eggs, and 2 medium-boiled eggs.
And 2 hard-boiled eggs.
And 2 hard-boiled eggs. Make that 3 hard-boiled eggs. And, some roast beef, rare, medium, well done, and overdone.
And 2 hard-boiled eggs.
And 2 hard-boiled eggs. Make that 3 hard-boiled eggs. And, 8 pieces of French pastry.
There's 2 hard-boiled eggs.
And 2 hard-boiled eggs. Make that 3 hard-boiled eggs. And 1 duck egg. Have you got any stewed prunes?
Yes, sir.
Well, give them some black coffee. That'll sober them up.
And 2 hard-boiled eggs.
And 2 hard-boiled eggs. It's either foggy out or make that 12 more hard-boiled eggs. And Stewart, rush that along, because the faster it comes, the faster this convention will be over.
Yes, sir.
Do they allow tipping on the boat?
Oh, yes, sir.
Have you got 2 5s?
Yes, sir.
Well, then you won't need the 10 cents I was going to give you. Well, that's fine. If that steward is deaf and dumb, he'll never know you're in here.
Oh, sure, that's all right.
Yes?
We've come to make up your room.
Are those my hard-boiled eggs?
I can't tell until they get in the room. Come on in, girls, and leave all hope behind. But you've got to work fast, because you've got to get out in 10 minutes.
Hey, Tomato, wake up, or they're going to fix the beds.
Say, I'd like 2 pillows on that bed there, huh?
All right, bring them.
Say, there's a slight misunderstanding here. I said the girls had to work fast, not your friend.
He's still asleep.
You know, he does better asleep than I do awake.
Hey, he always sleeps that way. Now he's half asleep.
Yes, he's half asleep and half Nelson.
All right, come on.
Yes?
Come on.
I'm the engineer.
Come on.
Came to turn off the
Wake
heat. Well, you can start right in on him.
Wake up, Tommaso. Tommaso, we're going to eat soon.
You know, if it wasn't for Gottlieb, I wouldn't have got this room. Just hold him there a second. Yes?
Did you want a manicure?
No, come on in. I hadn't planned on a manicure, but I think on a journey like this, you ought to have every convenience you can get. Hey, listen, I'm getting the manicure. Get out of here, will you?
Did you want your nails long or short?
You better make them short. It's getting kind of crowded in here. I don't know. This isn't the way I pictured an ocean voyage. I always visualized myself sitting in a steamer chair with a steward bringing me bouillon.
Come on, Ricardo.
You couldn't get any bouillon in here unless they brought it in through a keyhole.
I'm the engineer's assistant.
You know, I had a premonition you were going to show up. The engineer's right over there in the corner. You can chop your way right through. Say, is it my imagination or is it getting crowded in here?
I got plenty of room.
Yes?
Is my Aunt Minnie in here?
Well, you can come in and prowl around if you want to. If she isn't in here, you can probably find somebody just as good.
Well, could I use your phone?
Use the phone. I'll lay even money you can't get in the room.
How do you do?
This boat will be in New York before you can get to that phone.
I came to mop up.
Just the woman I'm looking for. Come right ahead. You'll have to start on the ceiling. It's the only place that isn't being occupied.
You can clean my shoes if you want me to.
Tell Aunt Minnie to send up a bigger room, too, will you?
Stewart?
Ah, come right ahead.
Hey,
Do it.
Marco, the food!
Been waiting all afternoon for you,
Comes to the
Stuart.
food. Come on.
I hope you all enjoyed this look into the Marx Brothers. This was so much fun to make, and I hope everyone who watches this will watch every Marx Brothers movie. They're true film classics that can be enjoyed by all ages. If you liked this video, please be sure to hit the like button as well as share and subscribe. Also, to see more videos like these, please be sure to pledge to the show's Patreon page. Finally, check out the show's other social media pages. As always, all links are in the description box below. For Joe and I, we thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon.